I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
The boogeyman is coming.
Death has come to your little town, Sheriff.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Hello and welcome to What Makes It Scary, a seasonal podcast unleashing the fear behind your favorite and not so favorite horror movies. I'm your hostess with the mostest this week, Jody Henderson of Clever Girl Effect Studios, and with me is my co-host, Mr. Red.
I shot him 6 times. I shot him 6 times.
Which is not true. You shot him 7.
Well, sometimes he shot him 7, sometimes he shot him 6, sometimes not 3.
And 5.
And 5.
Yep.
And 4. And 2 and 1.
Anyway, that's Alex Vincent who's
Hi,
talking.
how are
and
you?
He didn't shoot anybody.
As far as you know.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Well, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. We made it.
I know.
Wait, you're hearing our voices a little earlier than you're used to.
Yeah, because it's Halloween.
And you probably just got done listening to a marathon of the whole show.
Yes,
we've been
absolutely, because we've been
tweeting it out.
pimping it out every hour.
God, I hope we remember to do that. Otherwise,
Now we have to.
Yeah, now we have to. Yeah, but if you're listening to this much in the future, we decided that we would have like a marathon of all the episodes and tweet out to listen to each one.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Build up to our final.
Big finale.
Yeah.
The climax, if you will.
We don't call it the climax.
Sometimes
Because,
you
like,
do.
you still have stuff after the climax
Yeah,
of a
well,
movie.
it's the same. Whatever. So, yeah, specifically since it's Halloween, we're going to talk
We are
about
talking about
the Leprechaun John Carpenter's Halloween. Okay, yeah, all right.
God,
okay.
you really scared me.
I am prepared for a different series then.
Yeah. No, we prepared for Leprechaun a couple
we did that
weeks
for the
ago.
worst horror movies
Yeah,
episode.
absolutely.
Good God, those are bad.
Before we start talking about the films,
Yes,
since it's Halloween,
it is Halloween.
what does Halloween, like, mean to you?
Oh,
like, how do you
man.
get on Halloween?
That's a good question. I love Halloween. It's the most, I think, tangible of the holidays.
Okay.
In a weird way, because there's such a feeling to it. Like everything about it has such a strong feeling. Even Christmas is more ethereal and more like the spirit, you know? Mm-hmm. Whereas Halloween is about spirits. It's about like creepy stuff. It's like you can feel it in the air. Christmas is like it's been cold. Like we're used to cold.
Yeah.
Halloween is like, there's a change. In fact, I think like the origin of the Samhain tradition was like to signify the changing of the seasons from like the happy, healthy summer to the cold and dead.
Do you know why that happens?
No.
Oh, well, it's because, Demeter, the goddess
okay, Jode. All right, you're going to
of
do
the
this.
harvest, yes.
Now's not the time.
She has to submit her daughter, Persephone, to Hades for the
sure.
winter because that is his queen. And so
Jody.
she goes down into the underworld. Demeter goes into her deep depression, which is our winter. And then in the spring, Persephone gets to join her mother back, and that's why we have spring and summer.
Jody.
That's why that happens. I mean, I don't know if you didn't know that.
Don't make me shoot you 6 times.
Well, you heard it here. If I die and I'm
Yeah.
shot 6 times, it's because of Mr. Ed.
But if it's only 5 times, it was somebody else, and I'm exonerated. Okay, well, what about you? What is it? What does
Oh
it
man,
mean?
I've always loved Halloween. Halloween
you?
has always been like just a huge deal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like when I was in grade school. Like would plan my costumes months, like 6 months in advance, and like constantly kind of be thinking about them, working on them. I would drive my mother crazy because I would pick like the most specific, odd costumes, and we could never find anything for it. So I used to drive my mother crazy with that.
Yeah, we do. We used to do cosplays a lot, and you were always so good at like, 6 months before. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's the parts that I need to go find at garage.
Yeah, because I don't wait till the last minute, unlike some people.
Okay, that's not what this. Sometimes I can just give you a compliment, and you don't have to reverse it back onto me. You can just be like, "Thank you." Anyway,
could be like
you
that.
could be like that.
Halloween makes me a little bit sad
Does
now
it?
that I'm older and I have
no.
to fucking work on Halloween.
That's true. Yeah.
It just really sucks. And they've always said, like, there's this awkward time kind of when you stop going trick-or-treating and, you know, before you have kids and you can kind of start all over again. There's just this weird time. It's like, yeah, your friends might have a party, but
yeah, I feel like
nobody fucking does. So
right. Everyone's poor now. Nobody has money or places for parties. So those don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as parties.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
Yeah, let's talk about fun stuff. So, yeah, I used to be more of a Christmas person, but
yeah, you've definitely become more.
I've definitely become more of a. I've just developed such an appreciation for horror movies. Hence, why we started this podcast.
Right.
And you know, gotta inject them into my bloodline. And
right.
what better way to do that than Halloween?
Yeah.
I don't mean the franchise.
You also love candy. Like
I do love candy.
Like an unhealthy love.
Well, candy is unhealthy, and I just want to have sex with the candy. What's so weird about that? Doesn't everyone? No, I do have a big sweet tooth.
You have, huge.
Yeah.
Like, ladies and gentlemen listening in the audience, like this man, when we go to frozen yogurt, will get like orange sherbet yogurt and then put like
Nerds and Skittles and M&Ms.
And everything. I'm like, that's disgusting.
Oh, it's so good. You can't even taste the individual parts anymore. It's like,
you know,
when you mix all colors together and you just get like a brownish black grossness.
Yeah.
It's like that, but with flavor.
Yeah.
Where it's just a mess, but I love it.
Yeah, that's on it. And I have such a refined palate that I'm always like, I would like coffee, yogurt, and chocolate.
You're
Thank
like,
you.
I want mine to be a torture. I want mine to be a bad
it's
time.
So good.
Well,
I do. I just have such a
you do have
mature palate.
You do. You have a very like acquired tastes little thing. Do you
of multiple things? Yeah.
Do you like sushi?
Love sushi.
Yeah, you like sushi.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You've never even tried it. You're just. Too
I
much
have
of a
tried it.
wimp.
It's just not for me.
Right.
All right. Well.
Anyway.
So, what do you like?
Into it.
What do you like about Halloween, the franchise?
Like John Carpenter's Halloween, starting there.
Yes, the movie.
What do I like about it?
Mm-hmm.
It's scary.
It is pretty scary. Yeah.
Well, let's just dive into it.
Let's do it.
It's a groundbreaker.
Oh, for sure.
In the horror world.
Last week, we talked about Psycho, which is the
grandfather. I've did my more research, and it is the grandfather of horror.
This is for sure. The Psycho is probably the most influential horror movie of all time, and Halloween is like, if not a close second, then almost equal, some would say.
Yes, especially because it just, Psycho came out in the 60s, and then this Halloween came out in 1978, so the 80s. And just really kicked off a stream of movies that have never stopped since. Mm-hmm. So
I would say that if Psycho opened the door to what horror movies could be, Halloween was the perfect version of that.
Yeah.
Because as much as like, it's not my favorite horror movie, and it's not even my favorite Halloween movie. The original Halloween, I maintain, is the perfect horror movie. Everything about it is just, like, perfectly executed.
Yeah.
I think.
I would have to disagree just because of the lack of gore.
Yeah, but I don't think you need that.
No, but that's my specific taste
with
it.
And that's why I say it's not my favorite movie. I definitely prefer more violence and scariness. I don't find it particularly scary, but I know that it's supposed to be.
Right. Well, since we're talking about Halloween, I mean, Halloween doesn't really go anywhere without Michael Myers, we can tell by Halloween 3.
Halloween 3. Yikes.
So Michael Myers.
Yeah.
The Shape. The Boogeyman.
You want me to talk?
Sure.
Yeah, he's a big, scary dude. Well, sometimes big. I think the original, like, Nick Castle, when he played him in the original, is only, like, 5'10". He's, like,
that's short.
He's not a big, imposing figure. He's just so oppressively there. In fact, that's one of the things I actually like about it is because, and I have this written down, I have a ton of notes for this episode.
I do see that. You have a ton of notes. And I'm usually the one that's flipping through pages of notes.
Yeah, I usually have what I want to say, like, in my mind. But, everything about Michael Myers' design is specifically rendered to, like, completely take away any kind of personality from him. Obviously, there's the mask, which obviously is very blank and featureless, and you can project your own fears onto it. But even his clothing is very plain. It doesn't reflect any kind of, like, what kind of person is he? Like, it's all stolen clothes, and it's all just plain and flat clothing. He's not until the Rob Zombie movies, he's not a big, imposing figure. He's just this person that is completely devoid of
When you were
humanity.
younger, had you ever like went to a Halloween party or like went to the Halloween store and like saw this costume?
Probably.
Like, but you don't remember any of that?
No, I don't remember.
I'm not surprised.
What's that supposed to
that
mean?
you don't remember a lot of things from your childhood. But I specifically remember going to this one Halloween party at my aunt's like friend's house, and it had a bunch of kids and adults there and whatever. And one of the people was dressed up as Michael Myers, and I was so terrified.
Were
like
you?
not even knowing who or what that
You
was.
hadn't seen the movie?
No, I was like maybe 7, 8, yeah, like really young. And like it turned out to be like Scott was his name, and he's the one that
Shout out Scott if you're listening.
He was throwing the party, and like, you know, he had known me and I know him and whatever, so he like knew that I would be scared, and it was just awful.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he did it to scare you.
I wouldn't say specifically me, but he did like kind of follow me throughout the party and made sure I was scared of it.
Good on him. Well, it does really go to show how
that
effective
just like not knowing anything in the literal shape,
of the shape, yeah,
is what's so scary.
Scary stuff. Yeah. Cool. So do you want to talk about the first movie?
Sure. Yeah.
This is going to be a long episode, probably.
Yeah.
Because
it's Halloween. What else are you doing?
It's Halloween. It's our last episode. I don't know if we want to say that.
Sure is. I was going to say
early.
why. Yeah.
So it's a big finale.
Yeah.
And this movie, I literally could talk for like about a day on.
So start.
Okay. Do you want to summarize it? Like go through it like we usually do?
Well, yeah. I mean, it takes place in Haddonfield, Illinois, which is very close to us. Kind of.
Illinois.
I mean, Michigan and Illinois are pretty close.
I don't know why I pronounced it like Illinois.
It was not filmed in the Midwest.
No.
Which I was very surprised to find out, because this looks
They did a
very
great job.
Midwest.
All of the leaves are fake. Like, well, I think they're real leaves, but they like sprinkled them out
they
there.
like had them. Yeah, they went and like got fake.
And
or just non-regional leaves and used them for their filming, and then had to go and like pick them up for
rake them
other
all back
scenes.
up and put them in bags.
Jeez,
It's
that
funny.
would fucking suck.
It does. So it starts 15-ish years before the main events of the movie.
Right.
Where you don't actually see it first.
We get
I think
POV.
A POV shot. I think this was supposed to be a surprise when it's revealed.
Yeah, it was. I was.
Really?
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, wow.
I knew about this movie. This was one of those things
Man,
that
you just get a lot of shit spoiled for you. I feel bad.
Well, this was me. I when I was going through my what are horror movies phase, I was like looking all this stuff up, and I read like the plot synopsis of basically every Halloween movie before I watched any of them. Yeah, we see this person, point of view shot, enter a home. There's this woman, Judith, a young girl. She's a teen. And her boyfriend shows up, and they go upstairs to
have relations.
Underage relations, which I'm gonna say.
Do you have to say
I do
that?
have to. I'm legally obligated. And we see this figure pick up a mask and put it on, and then it obstructs the view, which we talked about in the Scream episode, how hard it would be to see with the mask.
Yeah.
This really puts it on. So how is this person later going through all these fight scenarios and beating people and winning and killing and not getting hurt? Well, not dying. And can't see. Anyway.
Picks up a knife.
Goes upstairs, and the boyfriend leaves. Lucky for him. He stabs the woman and then goes outside and...
Who turns and recognizes him.
And says, Michael.
Right. And then gets stabbed to death.
Then gets stabbed to death. She dies. She's dead.
Yeah. Dead.
And then he goes downstairs, steps outside, and he's like, oh, I'm going to go trick-or-treating, I guess, now. His parents get home, and it's his parents because they take off the mask, and you see that it's a little boy. It's a little 6-year-old-ish.
Yeah.
So child.
Who's just standing there holding a knife, and then the shot just kind of fades out.
Yeah. And then he says, I stabbed her 6 times.
No.
Actually, he doesn't say anything.
He doesn't say nothing.
He never says anything until Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
We won't go there yet.
My God. Yeah, and then we see Dr. Sam Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance, in his first, not first screen role, but his first role as Sam Loomis. It's the first movie, it'd have to be.
Right.
He is going with Marion Chambers to the sanitarium.
Marion who?
Marion Chambers? Marion Chambers?
Crane.
No, her name is not Crane.
It's not?
No.
Okay.
Her first name
is Marion,
right.
named after Marion Crane from Psycho.
Right.
sitting in a car with Sam Loomis.
Named after Sam
Sam
Loomis
Loomis from Psycho, who they were a couple, which I was like, oh, that's really cute.
Oh, I didn't even realize that they were a couple.
Yeah, I thought for sure her name was Marion Crane. Anyway.
So she is there, but he is also there to go and get Michael. I guess they're like bringing him to some trial or whatever. It's never like explained.
I think they're transferring him from one department to another or whatever.
So they go, and this is never explained, but there was...
And never thought of again.
Never thought of again, but there was, I guess, just a prison break or a mass breakout where all the inmates are just wandering free.
They're not, it's not so much a jail.
I know, it's an asylum, but like all of the
inmates,
whatever.
I guess patients.
Yes, the patients have broken out. They're not supposed to escape.
Right, and they're just wandering around, which is seriously
scary.
Terrifying.
Yeah, for sure.
Which it shouldn't be, but it is.
And then, so this is weird. Michael, it ends up being Michael, steals the car by scaring Marion out of it. Doesn't kill her. You would think that he just...
I don't think he has time.
Maybe not, but he just messes with her, puts his hand on her face, and she freaks out and runs. Somehow out of the car is better than in it. She doesn't start it and drive away, but whatever.
I don't know. Yeah.
You'd be scared too.
Right.
He steals the car, drives away, and then Sam Loomis follows him. I guess just leaves Marion behind. It's like, I'll take care of this.
Yeah.
He goes to Haddonfield where he knows Michael's going because
it's 15 years later.
15 years later.
He said that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's much later. It's 15 years later.
15 years later.
He goes back to Haddonfield, Illinois. He goes to his childhood home. A lot of this movie is unexplained, and there's not a lot of explanation given. He just decides to go home.
Right. That's basically the question I have is like, what is Michael Myers' motivation? And we never really get an answer.
In this movie.
Right. We don't even really get it. I don't know. I have my theories on what the motivation could be.
If you go by Halloween 6, the curse, I was going to say cult.
The
curse of Michael Myers. The cult of Thorn has this thing where once in a generation they choose a child to kill his entire family, and that grants him immortal life and super strength.
And then what?
And then you get super strength and immortal life.
Okay, has anyone ever done that?
Probably. Otherwise,
then where are those people?
Who cares? Who knows?
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
No, none of it makes any sense.
I know.
Those movies are stupid garbage trash.
It's stupid to think that every generation they have something
like that. I don't know. Maybe I made that part
up. We
would
fucking definitely notice them if they were immortal.
You'd think. Anyway, it's dumb, so let's ignore it. The second movie decides to reveal to us that...
You're jumping to the second movie already?
Well, because we're talking about the motivations of Michael Myers.
Okay.
I jumped to the sixth one.
Whatever.
That Laurie Strode, the main character of this movie, who we haven't yet talked about, is the sister of Michael Myers. And so he wants to kill her.
Okay. So, yeah...
But that's not...
Okay, that kind of makes sense throughout the rest of those movies, if you do think of it that way. But we'll go back to the first one.
Yep.
Our leading lady.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Daughter of...
Janet Leigh from Psycho.
From Psycho. Yeah.
Psycho.
I honestly
what are you gonna say?
think
What?
John Carpenter and Deborah Hill cast her solely based on her being Janet Leigh's daughter.
That was an influence. She was good, and they said once they found out that she was her daughter, they knew they had to cast her because of the publicity. But it doesn't hurt that she was a very talented actress,
right? And
she did very well in her audition. So there was more than one reason that they hired her.
But I think the big reason is that she's Janet Leigh's daughter.
Perhaps, but she's also very good.
I'm just saying, it's all about who you are and what you know and who you know.
Well, ignore her
Not how
audience.
good you are. Just remember that, all those people who are deciding what to go to for college,
all right.
Don't go for acting.
I want to stop this now. So, yeah, she is hanging out with her friends who, do you know their names? Because Linda. Annie. We knew Annie.
I do know them.
Annie,
yes.
We knew, but we kept forgetting Linda's name.
because Linda is a cheerleader-esque totally girl.
Yeah, she's a totally girl, totally.
And Linda doesn't sound like that type of name. But
right. Also, do you know what Linda's last name is?
I was
Wikipediaing this. So Annie is Annie Brackett because her father is Sheriff Brackett, who shows up in a bunch of movies. And her name, Linda, is Vanderclock.
Okay.
Klok, Linda Vanderklok, which is interesting.
Well, that's why we never say it, because it's a dumb name.
It's kind of a dumb name. Sorry to all our Vanderklokians out there.
Right. So, it's Haddonfield 19 whatever.
It's Halloween.
Right, it's Halloween. Laurie Strode's character, or Jamie Lee's character, Laurie Strode, is going to school, because they go, it's a Thursday or whatever. And, like, today.
Oh, yeah.
Like this night.
Right. Oh, God, no. Wait.
Go to school. And then, they're going to have their evening festivities. They talk about, my boyfriend Bob is going to come over and Paul's going to come over. And, Lori, you don't talk to anybody. You're such a dull person. And she's like, I'm too smart. Like, the boys don't like me.
But she is interested in that Ben Tramer.
Ben Tramer. Who eventually they're like, we set up a date with you with Ben Tramer. But
I was talking to Ben Tramer. He was so excited.
But I don't know how they decided that they're going to have all these plans when they're all babysitting. And I get that a movie was originally going to be called the Babysitter Murders.
Yeah, the whole point was that they were babysitters.
What the fuck are these parents doing? Where are they going?
That's a good question. I don't know if we ever see any adults in this movie.
Yeah, that's like Hocus Pocus we watched early today.
Yeah.
And I was like, so they just left their 2 children to go trick-or-treating for them to go to a party. I don't know. I'm just like, what the fuck are up with these parents?
Well, it's okay because they go to the party and Bette Midler sings a song, so it all works out.
Right.
Anyway.
Back to Halloween.
So,
yeah. So...
yeah, because they even have to manipulate the kids where Annie drops off Lindsay to... Lori's. Because it's like, so you're already watching a kid, you might as well watch this one too, because I'm gonna go get that D.
From P.
That PD. Well, anyway, now, so they basically end up all situating around these homes that they're babysitting various kids, and one by one, throughout most of the movie is very long, very slow shots of...
Well, they're driving home from school. They stop because the convenience store has been broken into. It's Annie's dad, who's the sheriff. They pull up and say, hey, what happened? He said, some kids broke in, stole a mask and some knives and some rope.
Rope, yeah.
Yeah, which we never see that rope.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was for.
He probably strings up Bob later in the closet with it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So then you're like, okay, so now Michael has this mask, which we can talk about the mask.
We can talk about the mask.
And everyone knows it's a modified Captain Kirk mask, which I think is really cool.
It is, because that Kirk mask by itself looks creepy without modifications. So they didn't
looks nothing like Captain Kirk.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing because once even in knowing that. You look at the mask and it's hard to kind of see it.
Yeah. Well, they took off the sideburns. They actually took off the eyebrows too, which I also think is what makes it so scary. That's a natural thing for people to be like, ooh, no eyebrows, because that messes with your face.
Yeah, because
perception.
That's how you do emotions. A lot of the stuff that has to deal with hiding your face and making things creepier has to do with the fact that you can no longer register emotion. So if somebody is hostile towards you, you don't know it.
Right.
So no eyebrows. It's like, I don't know if they're suspicious or if they're happy. I don't know.
Yep. And so then, he's slowly kind of showing up places and looking at Lori.
Another thing that I want to point out about this whole situation is that Michael Myers gets closer and closer to the camera every time you see him.
Cool.
It starts off, I think the first time you see him, he's across when she looks out the window of the school.
Yeah,
and he's
far.
Almost just a pixel on the other side of the street.
Right.
And then he shows up on the other side. My favorite shot, I think, is when he shows up and he's peeking from behind the shrubs. And he just leans back into it.
That's a good one. And then he's in her
backyard.
Backyard with the clotheslines.
Yeah, he just gets closer and closer.
You're right. And eventually we get to where she's hiding in the closet and he's coming in the closet.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. So yes, he's stalking these people and kind of getting their game plan together.
He's figuring out. I guess he's figuring out where they're gonna be. He can overhear them and everything.
Right. So by this time, Dr. Loomis has got to Haddonfield and is, partnering with the sheriff there and hey, Annie's we got to do something. They go to the old Myers house and, he's been here. He's eating dogs.
He killed this dog.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch.
Yeah, seriously. Fuck him.
He could kill all the people he wants, and he's like, oh, that wacky Michael Myers. He kills one dog, and we're like, you're on thin ice, Buster. You better watch yourself.
Yeah. So, then they start seeing him, and then Michael Myers goes and starts stalking Annie specifically.
Yeah.
Because she's... Go ahead.
So the whole thing about this movie is that it gets more and more contained as it goes on, much like how Michael gets closer and closer.
Right.
And that happens with Laurie, but it also happens with Annie, because the first time we see that she's being watched is she's watching Lindsay.
Right.
So it's Lindsay's house that they're in.
Right.
And she's in the kitchen, and she spills butter on herself for some reason. So
she's making popcorn.
Yeah, and I don't know how you spill butter on yourself, but I guess this wasn't like bags. This was the 70s. They didn't have bagged popcorn yet. They were stupid back then. So she is being watched in the kitchen in the house, which is this big area. Then she goes to the laundry room, like the shed, where she is also being watched, and that's where she changes. And that's a small confined area. And she it culminates in her in the car, which is this tiny enclosed space where she's then attacked.
Yeah, it's a huge long scene of her struggle and him breathing really heavy, and finally just slits her throat, kills her.
Yeah.
So he then takes her body back into Lindsay's house. Meanwhile, Linda and Bob have come over.
Yeah, I guess they're in Lindsay's house because later Laurie calls them and says, "Is Lindsay there yet? Or is Lindsay there?" Because
Annie.
Yeah, Annie. Because I have Lindsay here.
Yeah.
I really struggle with the geography of this movie.
So Linda and Bob
are going to have what did we say? Have relations.
It's so fucking disrespectful to go into someone's house.
Yeah,
your friend.
It's not even.
Yeah, it's
not even. She's not a babysitter. I don't think.
No.
She's just there. She just decides, hey, my friend is babysitting here. They don't seem to be around, so I'm gonna sneak in there. And you in these people's beds, in the master bed of this house where the mother and father sleep.
Yeah. Which they also have a jack-o'-lantern on their bedside table, which is really weird.
Would you have to... Who lit that? Was it the kids? It's stupid.
I don't know.
Maybe that was their mood lighting, I guess. They're
Maybe.
we could light a candle, or we could put it inside a pumpkin. It's confusing. Anyway, so they're doing that, which, again, I don't understand what sex is, so I'm confused by this, but I guess it makes people want beers. So Bob goes and gets a beer, and he gets himself shaped into a wall decoration.
Yeah, gets stabbed against the wall.
It's a really good jump scare too.
It is,
because he's just hey, who's in there? And you expect it to be a fake out.
Yeah,
but it's Michael Myers. He grabs him by the neck and
and then shoves him, stakes him to the wall.
Yeah,
and then goes puts it. This is where I'm
this is This is a little silly.
First of all, where'd he get this sheet? I don't think Bob took it down there with him.
I don't think Bob had it. No.
So he puts the sheet over himself, takes Bob's glasses, and puts it over the sheet. So it's just this hipster.
He sets up this goof to do. It's not. Yeah. It's not like he's trying to, because he could just walk in and kill
Linda.
He could just walk in and do that. He doesn't have to trick her. He just decides. This one's for Michael Myers.
Yeah, this one's for the goofs.
This one's for the goofs.
Which he has a mask on, and then he has a sheet over it. There's no way
he can't see. He can't see
anything.
And she's all she's taking her sheet off, so she's exposing herself, and she's like, "See anything you like, boys?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't know. I can't see anything."
Yeah, I can't see a fucking
weird
thing.
That's the only thing he says during the movie.
So then Laurie calls over. Linda answers the phone, and then
still thinking that it's Bob behind her.
Yeah, and gets choked with the phone cord.
Yeah, very, very little blood in this entire movie.
Yeah,
which I kind of like, even
it's
though
a nice change.
I do like gore.
Yeah. So then Laurie's like, "Oh shit, people are dying."
Yeah,
or something's happening.
Yeah, something weird's going on. So she goes over there,
and then just stumbles upon this horrific scene.
Yeah, she finds all the bodies.
Annie's body in the bed with Judith Myers' headstone above her, Bob swinging out of the closet, and Linda in the chest of, or the armoire.
Right. It's symbolic because Judith Myers was the first person he ever killed, and Annie was the first person he killed that night. I think that's what he's going for.
Think so?
I really don't know why he does this.
I don't know.
And does he do it for Laurie's sake? Does he know Laurie's going to come over there? I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not a lot of it makes sense, but it's scarier when it doesn't make sense because you're like, why is this happening?
Right.
Anyway, Michael is still in the house, and in one of the best shots of the movie, she's like panicking. She stumbles up against this like doorway, which is just blackness.
Great.
And then just the face of Michael Myers just fades in.
Yeah.
It's so creepy and so cool. And then he attacks her. She
falls down the stairs.
And then she like sits herself against the couch and is like looking around.
No. She gets up and she runs out.
Yeah, should she leave at this point?
Yeah, she leaves at this point, runs to the neighbor's house. They don't even let her in. They turn the light on. They look out the window. She's screaming her head off, like, help me, please. And they turn the light off, which I
hate that.
I know, that makes me so infuriated. But what would I do if I was inside that house? Nowadays,
I have stuff to talk about.
I definitely would be like, what's happening?
You'd be hesitant.
Yeah, I would be. I absolutely would be.
For sure.
So then she goes back into...
Does she go to Tommy Doyle's house? Because that's where Lindsay is too. Tommy and Lindsay are there.
Yells at the kids to go upstairs and hide under the bed. That's when she sinks down by the couch.
Okay.
And Michael follows her in.
Yeah. I don't know why she does this, but I guess because she's preparing the sewing needle. She's like getting knitting needle. She's like getting it out of this roll of yarn or whatever.
Right.
So when he attacks her, she's able to like stab him in the neck.
Which does nothing.
She seems to think is going to incapacitate him.
Normally.
Yeah, I mean, if I got stabbed in the neck, I would be down
you would
for
be
the count,
done.
for sure.
This is the game we were going to play, and it would be very short of how long would you last as Michael Myers.
Oh, yeah.
I would not.
I feel like if I were trying to kill someone and they stabbed me in the neck, I would be able to get up, but getting my eyes poked out with a wire hanger would probably do it.
Yeah.
Or getting shot 6 times and falling off a balcony. I'm dead somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
at least down for the count. So there's a great fight chase scene where again it gets more and more constricted, culminating in she's in this closet.
Right.
I guess I think she gets in there to hide. Like he doesn't. She
opens the door to like the balcony and then goes and hides. So it looks like she jumped off the balcony.
But he finds her and starts trying to stab her through the thing. She ends up poking him with the
thing. He drops his knife. She stabs him in the chest with a knife. He falls down. Just enough for her to like jump over him and like stand in the doorway.
And again, stop weirdly. And I know she probably thinks he's dead. The audience, I think, is supposed to at this point too. Right. The second, or maybe also best shot of the movie.
Right, is him just like full blown like sit up, turn and look at her from the doorway.
When I was watching a lot of the videos I watched after we watched the movie, I watched a bunch of videos about it.
Right.
And one of them contained like audio recordings of the audience reaction in the 70s of this.
And people were
screaming. They were like both cheering and yelling, and it was just so awesome. Because that's the first time well, maybe not the first time, but it's definitely one of the first and one of the most important times.
Right. People just don't do that nowadays.
What do you mean?
Like, people don't scream in theaters.
When characters show up, like in the superhero movies, when, Thor shows up, people are like, yeah, but not for horror movies.
Okay, yeah. Not, like, when we went to see It, Chapter 1, I think there was just, like, one moment when people were like, oh, my God. And that was it. And there was many moments in that movie where we all could have been like, blah! Screaming. But...
So,
anyway.
There's, it's not so much a fight so much as it is he's about to kill her.
Right. Sam Loomis finally realizes where he is, runs up the stairs, shoots him.
But right before he shoots, he gets his mask pulled off. And I've heard I've heard so many different variations of like what this is supposed to mean. Some people say he looks like completely nondescript and boring and just a normal person. Like you expect some monster, but he's just a dude. Other people say he's like this young, scared little kid who's just trying his best to kill. Yeah. And other people say he's like this evil face or whatever. I don't really know.
Isn't that crazy that so many people could think
different things? Like so many different things. It really goes to show that I think he's just supposed to be like human. I think the idea is this is not some monster. This is not some evil creature. This is a human who is evil, but it's a human. And
I try very hard to remember that we do see his face.
Yeah.
Because I do like the idea of him never being seen.
Right. I like that better too, but
so I just push it way out
yeah,
of
you
my
repress
brain.
it. That's
he
fine.
does look weird. Like he has
what?
a disability.
Well, he's been stabbed in the eye.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's it.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, there's no blood.
Right.
Yeah, just very, very odd.
And then he gets shot 6 times.
And he falls off the balcony.
Classic scene where he looks down, sees the body there, and then he turns back to Lori and is like, she says, was it the boogeyman? He's like, as a matter of fact, it was.
Turns back.
The body's gone, oh no.
Right. That score, originally composed by John Carpenter
himself.
Do you like it?
Oh, you mean the din, 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 din. I love it. I've never loved a piece of score more. Probably.
I do like when stuff like that gets reinvented, and we'll talk about it maybe a little bit later in the 2018 release of Halloween and how they update everything. I do like that. I like how it goes through all of its.
Even like throughout the series when the movies are bad and stupid and action heavy and everything, it's like, you know, played on a guitar and everything, and it's kind of cool, even if it sucks.
Absolutely. This film was made on a $300,000 budget.
This is a shoestring for movies, especially at that time.
It was made in 4 weeks. All of Dr. Loomis's takes were done in a week because they could only afford to pay him for a week.
He's a huge actor.
Yeah.
He was Blofeld from James Bond movies before this.
Yeah. Like this, I mean, this was, as we watched a documentary called A Cut Above the Rest.
Yeah, which was really good.
It was okay.
I thought it was good.
And yeah, like everyone pulled together and basically gave up their time. Jamie Lee Curtis got paid like $8,000 for this whole movie.
I'd love to be paid $8,000 for any movie.
I know, but
yeah, for an actor. Like everyone's friends and family were called in to just help out.
People just like lived there.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that method of making movies, though. It's so it's so fun and just.
Yeah, I think the proof's like in the pudding. Grease was kind of like that way. Really? Grease had a bigger budget, but like it just was like summer camp for those kids. They just went and did it, and
you can tell everyone's having fun.
Right. I wish more people were like that and just kind of gave their heart and soul. So many people nowadays are like, I'm not doing it for less than blah, 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 blah.
Sure. And the movie ends with various shots from around the town that we've seen before with the breathing of Michael Myers, which can be read many different ways. What I have written down is that it represents that he could be anywhere, which means functionally, he is everywhere. So no place is safe. No matter where you go, no matter where you hide, he's going to find you. He's going to kill you.
Right.
So scary stuff. So we don't have to go in depth.
We are not going to go
through every movie. Just very briefly touch on part 2 came out in 81. We learned that Laurie Strode is a sister in this one. I don't like this.
Yeah, this takes place like the same night as Halloween.
It picks up immediately. Laurie's taken to the hospital.
Yeah, I basically call this like hospital Halloween because it takes place in the hospital. Yep. We also get, and I will talk about this one death of a pseudo Michael Myers gets crashed.
Oh, Ben Tramer. Yes. This is Ben Tramer.
It turns out that Ben Tramer, the person that was supposed to be set up with Laurie, is in this costume.
That looks like Michael Myers' costume.
Right. Why is he dressed like that?
And not only the mask, it's also like the jumpsuit.
Yeah.
This isn't a common costume. The mask he stole,
this isn't like Ghostface from Scream. But it's a mask that can be bought because he stole it.
Assuming somebody else happens to have this mask, and he would just have happened to be wearing a jumpsuit with it. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Very odd. And what high schooler is like trick-or-treating by themselves? It's very odd. It's very odd, and I'm just always like,
it's a little
what?
Weird. I don't fully get it. But so that it's important to bring up because I think somebody tries to kill him thinking it's actually Michael Myers by ramming his car into him and crushing him between a car and a van. And then
explode.
Well, I was gonna
sorry
say it cooler, but why though?
Cars don't do that.
Cars don't do that. If cars were built so that if they crashed they exploded, the world would be a nightmare.
So many people would die.
Yeah, they specifically make them so that they don't explode.
Well, they learned that from the Pinto. The Pinto used to do that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's true. All right, so that's the second movie is basically Michael trying to kill her, and it ends with Michael getting shot in the head twice by Laurie Strode in the eyes, and he's all right, Jody. I know that Michael Myers is an unstoppable killing machine. He can't die, essentially.
Right.
But getting shot in the head that should stop him for the movie, like at point blank range. Twice he's shot in the head.
I don't know if he shot in the head. They could just graze his head.
How? How?
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. She aims a gun at his eyeballs and
She's
shoots
on the
each
floor
one of them.
and shooting up.
But what, they like glanced off his eyes?
He could have grazed the top of his head and he's bleeding from them, and it is just so happening that it's coming out the eye
The angle
holes.
doesn't make sense because she would have
You
had
don't
to be
make
like
sense.
underneath him. She's like off to the side. Anyway. So then Loomis is like, I'm taking this kill from you, Lori. I'm gonna do it. You leave.
Yeah, run
She
for your
leaves.
life.
Yeah. They turn on the gas and then he lights a lighter. They both explode and both die. There's no way that either of them survive. But both, I get so angry.
The veins in your neck
Yeah.
are just popping out.
I get so angry. The way I see it, they have so many like timeline jumps and like, all right,
that's what can fuck itself right in this series.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Where they say, all right, these movies didn't happen and these other movies did. So I choose to think that in the fourth movie, when we finally get back, it's a different reality where they didn't explode. There was like a minor explosion.
Right.
But the way we saw it, they died. So the third one's Complete Departure.
Oh, I love it.
You do? You like this movie a lot.
I like it. It's fun. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill.
Yeah.
This was basically their last, like, hurrah with this series. They had done the first one, the second one. This was their third one. They intended on this being like the Twilight Zone. Like every episode is a different story.
Yeah.
And so now every movie is going to be different. Halloween 1 just was so successful that they wanted a second one to follow it up. So then in 3, they're like, okay, we're starting with something new.
And I think it would have been really cool if they had continued it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, since they decided, all right, we need to go back to Michael Myers, it stands out as like this weird jump in the middle of this franchise where it's like, this one doesn't have Michael Myers.
Right. And it came out a year later from Halloween 2. So this came out in 1982.
Yep. Basically,
it's Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch, based on the song by, I had it written down. I don't know. It's a good song, though.
Right. It's just a town that's getting ready for Halloween, and it's,
there's this mask salesman who wants to kill a bunch of kids for some reason because they don't respect because he's Irish, which is, I guess, where Samhain ritual began.
Right.
And he has this idea where he's gonna make these masks which will melt kids' brains, turn them into bugs for some reason, which then attack the parent and snakes. If they watch a commercial at
with
this one
these
time
masks
while
on.
these masks are on, which seems like a very precarious plan. Why not just like put a bomb somewhere? But whatever, I'm more efficient.
Yeah.
But I guess it's working until the main character, Tom Atkins, who's like an alcoholic and just a womanizer.
Yeah. Goes and stops it.
Tries to. He does kill like everyone at the facility and I guess the guy trying to do this. Mm-hmm. But he also could be, because I don't understand what the plan is. There's like Stonehenge and he gets zapped by a beam of light. Does that kill him or does it just transport him? I don't know. It's dumb. And he has to stop the commercial. That's the last thing. And the movie ends with him maybe stopping it. He's like yelling at them to turn it off.
Right.
And it cuts. So I don't love this movie, not only because it's a complete departure, but even if it were like, all right, as a non-Halloween movie, how is it? I just think it's really boring and slow.
Well, yeah.
And it doesn't have the suspense or drive.
82 movie.
Yeah, but 12 Angry Men came out like 50 years before
I'm tired of you.
No, that's a great movie.
Tired of you bringing up this movie. Anything I say about old movies, you're like, 12 Angry Men.
Because it's a good movie that came out before we knew how to make a good movie. So
whatever.
I don't know what to tell you.
I just really enjoy that. 6 more days till Halloween. Halloween.
I'm leaving. I'm walking out of here.
I love it. And I actually like the aesthetics of those masks because like that's Halloween to me. Those 3 masks. That is Halloween. That is my 90s Halloween and what everybody dressed like.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
So I really liked it. So that's why I identify it.
The fourth one, they were like so obsessed with getting Michael Myers back, they put it right in the damn name of the movie, The Return of Michael Myers.
This came out in 88, so we had a big jump here.
Yeah, people were like, I guess, hesitant to get back on the Halloween bandwagon.
Right, well, we no longer have John Carpenter and Deborah Hill.
We also no longer have Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right.
Laurie Strode is gone. Instead, we have her daughter, Jamie Lloyd, who's been adopted into this family. What? Are you looking
Yep,
at?
I'm just trying to put my pieces together. Yep.
This family, the Carruthers,
Yeah.
with Rachel as her foster sister.
Foster sister.
And Michael shows up again, tries to kill Jamie because that is,
Her name's not Jamie, is it?
Jamie Lloyd, yeah, because she's named after Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, I am all types of confused already.
Rachel
Sure.
and Jamie are able to fend him off, and how does this movie end? Oh, they shoot him. Oh, the truck sequence, which I love, where these truckers, which, by the way, like formed a lynch mob earlier
Yeah.
and like shot and killed a dude because they tried to do vigilante justice.
Right. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah. Michael stows away on the truck as they're escaping town, kills everyone on the truck except for Rachel and Jamie, and then they end up knocking him over into this ditch, and then the police show up, and everybody unleashes and fires,
And they drop a bomb down there.
well, that we find out in the fifth
Yeah.
one. It's a weird retcon where it's like, also we dropped a bomb, which is also inexplicable that he survives.
Right. But his niece,
Jamie.
Oh,
That's
at
how
the
the movie
end,
ends. Yeah.
Goes back home and now is all of a sudden putting on this clown costume.
In a POV shot.
Right? And picks up a pair of scissors and stabs
The foster mother.
Right. Her, what would be new foster mother?
I guess. I don't remember. But yeah, they're setting up that she's
the new Michael Myers or
she's
whatever.
also evil or whatever. But then the fifth movie is like, nah, man, she's fine.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
1 year later, we get Halloween 5,
Yeah.
Revenge of Michael Myers.
This is a bad movie, I gotta say.
Yeah, I agree. This is a bad movie.
Jamie's silent. She's mute.
Yeah, she's all of a sudden mute now. She's kind of in a, special person's...
Special needs facility or something.
Children's hospital, yeah. And turns out she didn't stab.
Well, she did. She just didn't kill.
Right.
She survived.
But her and Michael are now, connected.
They have this psychic link that's
Yeah.
dumb. And they decide to kill Rachel from the fourth movie almost immediately.
Right.
And the new main character is this random nobody, Tina.
Tina.
Who's
She's
bizarre.
funny.
She's
very
probably-
much Mona Lisa from Parks and Rec.
She looks and acts just like her. Like, she is probably crazier than Michael is.
Yeah.
She's nuts.
Yeah.
And, she dies, so who cares? And then Donald Pleasant, Sam Loomis, he's been there. He was in the fourth movie. He's trying to stop Michael.
Yeah.
He's also here trying to stop Michael. He ends up luring Michael out with Jamie and then has a stroke after stabbing him a bunch
yeah.
or whatever, beating him.
Yeah.
And then he dies, but doesn't die because he's in the next movie.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Those two movies are just interchangeable.
Yeah,
4
the
and
fourth and
5.
fifth
They're the exact same fucking thing.
If you look at all of these franchises, like Nightmare, Friday the 13th, every sequel is just new characters. Maybe there's one returning person. I kind of like how 4 and 5 is basically the same cast with some
I
additions.
know, it's the exact same fucking thing.
Kind of is, but I kind of like it just because it's different in how it's the same, It's unique in that it's the same
you
thing.
would think that.
All right, well, so the sixth one has Paul Rudd, which is
Finally,
its only...
we are in the 90s, people.
Yeah.
We're in 95.
It is the only redeeming quality of this movie.
It truly is.
Is that Paul Rudd is in it, because this movie
It's trash.
is garbage. This is the worst movie. I'm surprised this wasn't on my worst horror movies, but I knew we were going to be talking about.
I don't know. It's not that bad.
No, it's bad. Okay, so there's a cult of Thorn.
So Jamie is all grown up now.
Jamie's an adult. She has a child. She's has been kidnapped by this cult. She is part of them now, or maybe not voluntarily, but by the way, the implication is that Michael Myers is the father of this child.
That's
I think the
terrible.
director's cut, there's some implications there. It sucks. Everything about this movie's bad. But so Jamie has a child. Then Michael kills Jamie. The child gets away, and then Paul Rudd finds it. So
Yeah, like a literal dumpster baby.
yeah,
In a hospital, trash,
I think
but-
Jamie hides him. It's him, right?
Yeah.
Hides him in just a train station, and then somehow Paul Rudd knows where to find him and just finds him later after Jamie
Right.
dies. And then he gets wrapped up in the whole plot, and Michael's trying to kill the baby, and they stop him. Who cares? Who cares? This movie is so bad. This movie's so bad.
Yeah. It's weird.
So let's just never speak of it again.
Yeah.
So then they rebooted the franchise, H2O.
3 years later.
3 years later.
In 98.
This movie only has the first 2 movies associated with it.
Right.
4, 5, 6, and 3 have never happened.
Never happened. 3 could have happened.
Maybe. If he stopped the thing. We don't know. Or all the kids are dead. You never see any children in this movie. It's all teenagers.
True.
Anyway, Although they probably would have been kids at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, your math is wrong.
Not consider it. Basically, Michael Myers shows up to kill Laurie, and she's a professor
Jamie
at a
Lee
school.
Curtis is back.
Yeah. She plays Laurie Strode, but she's pretending to be Carrie Tate.
Right.
Which is
weird.
Whatever.
She has a son who goes to a boarding school.
Josh Hartnett. Is it Josh Hartnett?
What else is he in?
I don't know. He was a heartthrob in the 90s. He did a lot of like TV stuff.
No, he looks weird.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh.
His face is weird. But not too weird.
Yeah. All right. Good to know. I'm glad we have that fully situated.
Yeah. Yes, she's having just like horrible PTSD at the beginning of this movie because Halloween is coming up and she won't let her son go to the Grand Canyon or wherever it is. Yosemite, you're right. And so just very worried. We also, Michael is, where is Michael? Where does he come from?
Oh,
does he get out of an asylum?
Yeah, I don't remember how I think he just shows up, right? What's the beginning of this movie? It's the beginning of H2O.
Or maybe they never found his body?
Because he definitely...
Oh, he died in that fire. They never found a body.
Right.
That's what it was.
Huh. Okay. Because he definitely shows up and, steals that car.
Yeah. Oh, yes. From the nurse.
From the nurse.
From the first movie.
Oh, yeah. That's how he's...
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Marion Chambers is back. Marion Crane Chambers is back. Maybe that's her middle name. We don't know. And she... The files on Laurie Strode have been stolen from her. She keeps them at her home.
Right.
Seems like a breach of confidentiality.
Absolutely.
But, Joseph Gordon-Levitt dies, which is sad.
Right. And Nurse Marion.
And Nurse Crane is dead.
By Michael, breaks into their house and kills them and whatever.
Yeah. So he knows where to find Laurie. He goes to hunt her down and tries to kill her.
Right. We have this bathroom scene.
Yes,
we have a lot of these now.
Yeah.
From now until the end. Of this mother and this daughter, going just this,
It's just a stop.
Yeah.
It's just a truck stop kind of.
Truck stop, bathroom, goes in there. Her daughter's in one stall, she's in the other, and, can see through the cracks that Michael is there.
Yeah.
Not knowing who Michael is, but still being just, jarring and terrifying.
Scene.
All he does is swipe her purse, steals her car.
Yeah, and doesn't kill anyone.
Thank God.
I know.
I would be a wreck. Speaking of last year,
yeah,
we watched Halloween movies.
Right. Because it's not exactly a ritual because we did that for this series, this franchise, but...
On Halloween, you sent me a text.
Oh, yeah, from school.
Yeah.
Because I had class, was it Halloween night?
Yeah.
Or was it Halloween Eve?
Night.
Okay, Devil's Night. But yeah, I was walking to the bathroom from class, and as I was passing by in the hallway, I saw through the doors in one of the classrooms, which, by the way, had a class going on. The professor was standing there lecturing, but sitting in the seats was a Michael Myers. And I took a picture of it, and it looked like the mask from the new movie because it was kind of lightly bluish and decayed a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just a dummy or if it was a person in a costume.
I thought you told me it was a pretty because they were taking notes.
I thought they were. It looked like they were taking notes. So I think it was just a person in a Michael Myers costume, taking notes. I like to think it was actually Michael Myers. He was like, you know what? I got to learn some actual skills because I'm not really. I've been unsuccessful in killing.
It,
yeah, so to speak. He's been
anyway. You had sent me that text, the picture, and then you sent me this text in all capital letters, oh my fucking God,
yeah,
Michael Myers is here.
Michael goddamn Myers. And you were like, you got to leave. Get out of there.
Because I thought he was in your class, and I was like, no way would I ever be able to focus. So I was like, you might as well just leave. But he wasn't in your class.
Right. It was really funny.
But I always remember that as just so funny.
So, what else happens in this movie?
Yes, we get a cameo.
Which is pertinent to our needs, having just discussed.
Shiko.
I don't pronounce it that way, but whatever.
We get a cameo from Janet Leigh, which is
Jamie Lee Curtis's
mother. And also fucking Janet Leigh.
Yeah, she's great.
She plays Laurie Strode's assistant
Norma.
Yeah. It's such a cute cameo to have that in there.
And she's like, if I can be maternal for a second.
Yeah. And the whole audience is like,
okay, you can do whatever you want, Janet Leigh.
Yeah. And then, of course, Michael goes on his
killing spree.
LL
Cool J is there.
Yeah.
He ends up surviving.
I love LL Cool J.
Yeah.
We also get a tidbit in this movie that doesn't make any fucking sense.
What's that?
The kids at one point, the teens, are watching...
Oh, yeah.
Scream.
They're watching Scream 2.
Which if Scream 2 exists in this world,
presumably then Scream 1 exists,
does.
Where there's...
And in Scream 1, we have this infamous scene of Randy watching Halloween.
Yeah.
While Ghostface is coming up behind him, he's like, Jamie, turn around. Jamie, which is himself. Very so fucking meta.
It doesn't make sense. It really caves in on itself. It's a Ouroboros or whatever.
Right. So it's just like,
try not to
literally any other movie.
Try not to think about it too hard, otherwise you'll die. You'll actually die.
Yeah.
So they kill Michael, quote unquote, the way that they kill him in every movie, which is like shoot him down and he falls off something, and they're like, yeah, all right, it's over. But Laurie Strode knows that it ain't, so she steals the body. Well, it's in a van. She steals the van, drives off to finish the job, and ends up chopping his head off. And that's it. He's dead.
Right.
And the movie's end there. There's been no more.
No.
So,
there's one more good one.
Are you sure? Does there have to
Actually,
be?
there's two more good ones.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's one more good one.
Right.
But first...
4 years later go by. We're now in the millennia.
Oh, my God. The Willennia, if you will. If you will.
Shut up. We get Halloween Resurrection 2002.
Don't bother.
This is a great movie. What are you talking about?
All right, let me tell you this. This whole franchise, even the ones that don't have Laurie Strode in it, are like, we have to kill Laurie Strode, or he has to, not we, has to kill Laurie Strode.
We have to kill Laurie Strode.
Or her offspring, even if that's like down the line, her grandchild in the sixth one. And then in Resurrection, he does. He kills Laurie Strode. Yay, congratulations. In the very beginning of the movie.
Right.
And then he just decides to go back home, and there's no reason for it, and... there are just happen to be people there, so he's like, might as well kill these people.
Yeah,
there's no
there's no motivation.
There's no motivation, and while I love that in the first Halloween, I hate it in Resurrection because it's dumb.
Yeah, I had never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get rapper Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes, who actually, my favorite part of this movie, he has the smoothest, silkiest voice. I could just listen to him talk for hours.
He has a good voice.
I love his voice, so I'm fine with. I'm okay with this movie.
He's putting together this group of college students who are going to have like a Big Brother type thing.
It's like a web-based reality show.
Right. Yeah, they have webcams. They'll be hooked up. They're going to put them all in the Myers house, and they're going to explore it because they're all part of a psychology class of why did he do it? Why did he do these killings or whatever? Which
I guess could be interesting. I just think it's messy. None of these characters
are awful.
Awful, right.
They're one-dimensional. They suck. They're sex-driven, which is really odd for these movies.
Yeah.
We don't have a ton of that beyond like the first one.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has like one couple that's just like, we got to sneak off. And then
but like
this
is like everybody, which I know like this is the millennia and like it's weird. Like that's kind of what we were leaning towards.
You do keep mispronouncing millennia,
like,
but that's all right.
Shut up.
I don't know why you keep doing that.
Anyway, so we also have Tyra Banks, which is a fun part of this movie.
Yeah.
She plays no person of value.
Right.
And
Busta Rhymes karates with or martial arts with Michael Myers for some reason, and then gets electrocuted, or he electrocutes him. And then how do they stop Michael this time? They just
so they're on this web series, and these people are watching it. The one girl in the house is having this online relationship with having an online relationship kind of with this high school student.
Yeah.
She is literally being catfished before catfish was a thing.
That's right. By the dude who was he in another horror movie that we talked about?
No. One of the guys at that party is.
Oh. All right.
God, what's he from?
Was it Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yes. So he's like watching the whole thing go down and like texting her like, he's coming up the stairs, like so she can get away from whatever
he's watching.
Right, they set the house on fire.
Okay,
is what it is.
But that's sure to kill him.
Fire.
He's never survived a fire before. Yeah. Stupid. All right, so that's that movie. About it. Yeah.
Well, they take his body to the morgue, and of course, boom, his eyes open at the end of it.
Oh yeah.
So
whatever.
Still
there's more, but there's not because it ends there.
Right.
Then they do a remake. Rob Zombie remade the movie.
Complete remake.
2007.
Right.
Basically, most of it is exactly the same, just more brutal and disgusting.
Right, but we get this whole prologue.
Pre-scene, where Michael Myers is a kid for like an hour of the movie.
Right.
And he kills a lot of people instead of just his sister. Like he kills his stepfather and everything. And then that's not even enough. They're like, yeah, but he's probably okay. He can get some help. Then he kills this random nurse, and then they're like, okay, now he's evil.
Rob Zombie.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever seen another Rob Zombie movie?
I think that I have.
I think I have. I can't think of the name of it right now, though. His movies are so gross.
They are pretty gross.
And they're so volatile in their language.
Oh, yeah.
And none of that ever really bothers me, but it's just like, and I know people out there are like that in the world. Mm-hmm. But like,
yeah,
is that why you want to put it in a movie? Is because it's like the abnormal, the weird, the strange, like,
I don't know.
Is that why we always have to have somebody who's like, I'm going to skull fuck you to death or whatever?
I don't know what the motivation there is. I just know that I want my main characters to be relatable and likable.
Yeah, and none of these
like, the Laurie Strode in this movie is all like, just gross and like, oh, I just want to have sex to her mom, even though she's joking, but it's just like so weird and unauthentic and disingenuous. Like, I just don't understand.
Right.
These movies are just not comfortable to watch.
Yeah, we get this whole thing of Michael Myers as a young teen.
Yeah.
So he's not even 6. He's like 12, maybe 10.
Something like that.
He's like killing animals, kills his pet rat.
Yeah.
And like kills a bully.
Yeah.
At school, which is
Junie
from Spy Kids.
Most importantly.
Horrible casting.
You think so?
Yeah.
On whose part?
Whoever cast Junie. Because like anybody who's seen Spy Kids, like, you just can't see this kid because he's not old enough yet. This is like he hasn't reached the height of his puberty. We will perceive him as a different person.
Spy Kids was like 2003, so it was like 4 years before this.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so bad casting on that part because it's literally just Junie that he kills with like a tree branch, like just annihilates this kid.
Right.
So that's literally the first person he kills is a bully.
Which is stupid.
That day, Halloween, which nobody ever comes back to.
Yeah,
like, nobody
cares?
freaks out in that town. Like that one kid's missing. 2, they find him.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
No. So Halloween happens, and then his mom is a stripper, so she's out stripping. And then we get the first kills. He kills his stepfather. Mm-hmm. He kills his sister's boyfriend who just came into the kitchen, kills him, goes up, kills his older sister, Judith.
Then her mom comes home and is like, oh no, and then locks him up.
But then, like you were saying, what, a year goes by or whatever?
Yeah, and he's like, kind of
still
fine.
Talking.
He's still talking. He's like, hi, Mom, can't wait to go home.
Yeah, can't wait to see everybody. Like, has no recognition of what has happened.
Like, it's weird. Then he kills a nurse, and then his
that's
mom's
when it's like,
oh no, he's really evil.
And she kills herself.
And then
leaving the baby that was there that Michael
they had a
didn't
baby.
murder.
Yeah. And then many years later, he breaks out of prison.
Oh, he's
to kill
huge.
again. Oh, I do like this, even though I prefer him to be like a normal person.
Right.
He's definitely scarier in this movie.
Enormous. He's played by like a pro wrestler or whatever. Yeah. Just enormous. He kills Danny Trejo.
The biggest offense of them
all.
Which
is really funny because he was also in Spy Kids.
in Spy Kids. Oh, this is basically a reunion.
Yeah.
A Spy Kid reunion.
Yeah. He kills 22 people in this film, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
When you think of he killed 6 people in the original. Yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous. But then Laurie shoots him in the head at point blank range.
And he still doesn't die.
I don't understand this. Like, I understand. I like the ambiguity, you know? Like, I like the he was shot and you thought he was stopped, but he survived that. Okay, because you could survive that. But if you get shot in the face, and Laurie shoots him right in the head, and blood.
She's like straddling him.
Yeah, and blood just explodes all over herself, and she's covered in blood. He's dead. You can't tell me.
Yeah, he's
that he's back. All right. So
anyway, but we get a second one out of Rob Zombie, and Rob Zombie goes full blown in this movie. Has no control or anything like that.
This is a brutal movie.
This one's awful.
It is disgusting.
This is a bad music video.
It's all the stuff with so throughout the movie, Michael Myers is seeing visions of his mother. Deborah Myers.
With a white horse.
With a horse, and sometimes Judith is there, and sometimes friggin' Laurie Strode is there. It doesn't make any sense. It is a music video that is not a good one.
They kill a cow. on accident. Like, well, they don't, like, the people who made this film didn't kill a cow, but, like, in the movie.
Well, how do you think they filmed that?
Stop.
Yeah, somebody runs over a cow. I don't want to talk too long about this movie.
It's weird. If you want to watch it, it's
But
odd.
Michael Myers dies in this for real because
Octavia Spencer is also in this movie.
Yeah.
Shout out to her because she's
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
She's one of the nurses in the hospital where Laurie Strode is, and Michael comes to find her. So it's kind of like Halloween 2 where it takes place in a hospital, but
then that's all a dream sequence. So was there ever really an Octavia Spencer?
Yes.
Okay, well. So that movie ends, they kill Michael, and Laurie is in one version, Laurie's like another Michael again, like the Jamie thing. There's like 2 different versions and they both end different.
Right.
They're both stupid, so let's move on.
right.
Then
For 9 years,
there was nothing.
Michael Myers rested in peace. But then
Laurie Strode made her return, and also Michael made his return, because we're back. It is 2018.
And we get Halloween.
The movie Halloween, which is a sequel to the original Halloween.
Well, the first one's called John Carpenter's Halloween, and this one's just called Halloween.
Okay.
So
it could have been called Halloween 2 and been a remake of the second one.
People would be way confused.
Oh, I'm way confused.
I love it, though.
Yeah, this movie is so good.
This movie rejuvenated, like, that I could like Halloween. Because, like, I like the first one and the third one, just because it's different. And then I fucking hate, usually, the rest of it.
Right.
It's confusing. It doesn't make any sense. All of it's the same. They all get killed in the same way and whatever. But now we're in 2018.
So,
Jamie Lee Curtis is back.
Yeah. She has a daughter, Judy Greer, who's grown up and also has a daughter who's a first-timer. Allison. She's a first-timer. She's introducing in this movie.
But before all of that, we see Michael. He's in an institution. These 2 podcasters.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them. No.
Yeah, I hate podcasters.
Yeah.
Why would anyone do podcasts?
They come and, this is a great scene. They're out. All the inmates are outside. Michael is hooked up to this thing and there's like a square around him. They're like, do not go close to the square because that's where he can like get you.
Yeah.
But they let these 2 podcasters go out there and like provoke him.
Yeah, they have his mask and they're trying to get him to say something.
Yeah.
It's weird. Although it does lead, like, the title intro sequence is awesome in this movie because he's yelling and, like, the music is picking up and then it just
all the
hard
other inmates are, like, going
screaming,
crazy. Yeah.
And then it just hard cuts to the opening. It's cool. It's really cool.
Yes. We have a technically new Dr. Loomis.
Yeah, Sartain.
Yeah.
Who's very close to Satan in name, which is funny because, spoilers, he's a bad guy.
Yeah. Laurie is in her isolation bunker. Like she lives close to Haddonfield, but like has isolated herself, has built this house that's like just a war machine.
A fortress, yeah.
Yeah.
She's got like a hidden bunker underneath the house.
Right. The 2 podcasters go there. They offer her money to kind of get her side of the story. She's like, fuck you. I'm not going to give it to you, but I'm going to take your money.
Yeah.
And then the 2 podcasters, well, before that, they're transferring Michael.
Yeah. Why would
That's never a good idea.
Why would they ever do this? Just leave him be.
Yeah, just leave him.
Yeah.
Laurie goes there, has a gun, and is like watching them transfer him. She sees him.
Yeah.
We don't see him as an audience because we never see his face, but she sees him. And how fucking scary would that actually be? Oh,
and she plays it as like she's haunted. It's great.
Yeah,
her acting is so good in this movie.
It is. It's completely believable. She's had a lifetime to kind of get to it.
Yeah.
You know? So then the bus crashes.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these inmates, of course,
escape again.
Yeah, and now Michael has escaped. He kills this kid
he just wanted to dance. Couldn't you just let him dance, Michael?
It's such a cute little kid.
He
I
is
feel so
cute.
bad.
Yeah.
His dad, on the other hand, gets mutilated.
Oh.
His head is literally like lifted off his spine and then just like sat next to it, which I think is
that's better than.
It's got great kills in this movie. And that's what I like about it.
That's better than Sartain's death, though. Later on, because he gets his head just
crushed into the ground.
Oh, it's brutal.
But so Michael's free, steals a car, is now headed to Haddonfield, which is also where these 2 podcasters are because they just interviewed Laurie. They go to a gas station. Another bathroom scene,
which if you were probably expecting things to be okay based on the first one.
They're not.
They're not. Both of them end up dying.
Michael shows up at this gas station, recognizes that these are the two podcasters who have his mask.
Yeah.
He kills somebody at the mechanic, because this is also like a garage gas station type place. Steals the jumpsuit, so now he has a jumpsuit.
Good for him.
Goes into the car, steals his mask, rips open the face of another gas station attendant.
What a sick image.
That's my favorite kill, because I'm like, oh man, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
I would imagine that he took his jaw and just ripped it down, because he has a handful of teeth, which he then goes into the bathroom. The girl's in there. And reaches over the stall and just drops all of these teeth. Ugh. So instantly she's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And eventually the other guy comes in to save her. They both die.
Yeah, they both die. He gets his mask back though, so good for him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good for us.
Good for us, for sure. Who's the real victors? We are. So then what happens quickly? We
get another. So now it's Halloween night.
Yep.
Lori's like, be really careful. You should come to me with the bunker. And her family's like, fuck that.
We're trying to have a normal life here.
Right. We get Michael comes through the town.
We got this one shot.
We get this amazing
so
one take shot of him walking into a couple of different houses and killing people. Oh, go look at it. It's awesome.
Watch this movie. If you're going to watch any of the Halloween movies, the first one and this one are so good.
So good. People are starting to kind of put it together that Michael got loose. The bus crashed and now he's here. So then
they find Sartain and save him. They still think he's a good guy, so they bring him back into the plot. Right.
They can't find Lori's granddaughter, Allison. She's at the school Halloween dance or whatever.
And she gets her phone thrown into some nachos.
So now they can't even contact her.
Right.
She's walking home because she broke up with her boyfriend at the dance.
Because he threw her phone in cheese.
Yeah.
Which you'd break up with me if I did that too.
Walking home with the fat best friend is what I call him. His His name's Oscar.
He's a comic relief.
He is.
He's very funny.
He's very funny. His death is so tragic.
It is.
Because he's, goes in it for it with Allison. She rejects him, walks away. So he's just left alone. All of a sudden, these motion lights come on and he's kind of sees Michael. He's kind of disoriented.
Yeah.
And,
Michael is still when the lights are on, so the lights turn off. But then when he moves they turn on, so he stops
getting
again.
closer. And eventually,
so cool.
Slices this kid. The kid runs to go and climb up the fence, and Michael stabs him in the back one more time. So then he dies. He slinks down.
Onto the spiky fence. Why do people have spiky fences?
I don't know. They're very dangerous.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, her friend, I don't know her, Allison's friend's name, is babysitting.
Oh, yeah.
This really cute kid, Julian.
Yeah.
Who is so funny. He's
kid's
another hilarious comic relief. He's like...
Clipping
my gross ass toenails. Yeah. He's a cute kid. All of his lines are great. Mm-hmm. Michael shows up to her house. Why? I don't know.
He kills her.
Kills her boyfriend.
Yeah.
But Julian doesn't die. Thank goodness.
No, he runs out. He's like,
I'm fucking out of here.
He yells like, you're gonna die, run.
Yeah, he's like, you're gonna die, Dave.
Yeah. So Lori tries to kill Michael. This is the first time she sees him at the house. Fails to do so.
And then they can't find Allison. She gets picked up by the new doctor.
Right.
And
they find Michael, run him down.
The sheriff is also with him. Hits them with the car. Hits Michael with the car.
And then they're like, all right, we got to go out and make sure he's dead. So they get out.
And that's when the whole story flips on its ass.
Sartain kills the sheriff and is like, I want to see what Michael feels when he kills. Puts on his mask, throws Michael in the back seat with Allison, which is a nightmare.
Yeah.
He's unconscious. Then takes off the mask and throws it back there.
Right. He's like, I'm going to see what it's like to reunite Lori and Michael.
Yeah. Which nobody else wants.
And because he wants him to say something. Everybody in this movie wants Michael to say something.
Yeah. But then, of course, Michael breaks out and kills the doctor. Not Allison. Kind of just...
She just gets away, though.
Yeah, he kind of just lets her. It feels like he could kill her if he wanted to.
He's like, I'm going to go kill you because I know where you're going. You're going to Lori's house, which she finds. And then we just get... 45 minutes worth of just this crazy bunker house and
probably
Lori walking around and Judy and
it's like a cat and mouse between Michael and Lori.
It's good. I like it.
It's awesome.
Eventually they get Michael down into the basement and she's built this thing to where it locks him in there. She has all these pipes in her house that pump in gas. And they set the house on fire.
After they leave, of course.
After they leave.
And so it's the three women. It's Lori. I don't remember Judy Greer's character's name.
Karen.
Karen, yes.
Yeah.
Karen and Allison all driving away together. It's a good ending. It's a good movie.
It is. It's awesome.
That
wraps up Halloween so far. Apparently, we're going to be getting another one.
Yeah, we're getting 2 more, which I don't know why you're not happy about.
Because this one was so good.
Yes, which means the next one will be good.
Fuck it up again.
No. All right.
Why do you think they won't?
Because this one was good.
Have you ever met a third movie that's really good?
Shrek 3.
You take that back.
All right, so let's
no, seriously, you take that back. It's bad.
So we have other stuff we want to do for this episode.
Yeah.
We have some games. We have some fun Halloween games.
Do you want to go?
I'll go first. Before we rank the movies, I wanna play a little game. This franchise is known to just very randomly and weirdly bring in characters from previous movies that you didn't think were important.
Right.
So I wanted to play a game where I ask you how many movies you think certain characters were in.
Okay.
All right. So first of all, Laurie Strode. We're gonna go big here.
Okay,
Laurie Strode.
She was in...
And I did count the Rob Zombie movies in...
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So not Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right, not Jamie Lee Curtis.
Strode.
Laurie Strode.
1, 2...
Buckle my shoe.
Is she in 4? No, she's not in 4. 1, 2... I gotta count on my fingers. Hold on. 1, 2, H2O, Resurrection, Zombie, 18. So 7?
That's right. 7 movies. Good job. Okay, Sam Loomis.
Oh, the character?
The character, Dr. Sam
Oh, yeah,
Loomis.
he's only played by one person.
Well.
He is. He's only played by one person.
Wow.
He's only played by one person. Are you counting a voiceover?
No.
Okay.
Oh, if I did, this would be higher.
He is in 1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm. And then...
oh, I see what you're saying.
The 2 Rob Zombie movies.
I don't remember those.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
6, 8. He's in 8 movies.
Nope. He was not in Halloween 3. So he was in the first 6.
I said 1, 2, 4.
Right.
1,
which would be
2,
5 movies.
Oh.
So he was in 7, just like Laurie Strode, which is weird to think about. It seems like he's in a lot more than Laurie is, but...
Right.
All right. Michael Myers.
How many movies are there altogether?
11.
10.
Yes. By the way, I looked this up. Wikipedia lists Michael's middle name as Audrey. And I could not find a source or a reference for this, so I'm in no way prepared to say that...
Wikipedia.
Yeah, so I don't know, but that's weird. Okay, Tommy Doyle.
Tommy Doyle.
Yes. Do you know who Tommy Doyle is?
Yes, Tommy Doyle is the person that in the very first movie Laurie was babysitting.
Yes.
He was in that movie. He was in another random movie before he was Paul Rudd.
That's right.
So I'm saying 3.
And then he was in the remake.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Both of those.
So 4.
Yes, 4 movies.
Okay.
Good job. So also on that note, Lindsay Wallace.
Oh, piss. She's in another one, too. So 4?
No.
3.
Yes.
Yeah. 3.
Because she's in the original, she's in the remake, and she's in that one where also Tommy's played just by a teen in the background.
Just a random person.
Like,
yeah.
it's a background character, not even a cameo. Right. No reason for this to be that character. Right. Marion Chambers. How many movies is Marion Chambers in?
I know she's in 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 3 because I think she's in another one.
She's in 3, but what are the movies?
Oh, I have to name them?
Well, now you do. For this one, you do. Or I could just tell you.
She's in H2O, she's in the original, and she is in Halloween 4.
No.
I don't know.
The second one, she shows up she tells us that girl, that Strode girl.
Oh, yeah.
That's Michael Myers' sister.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jamie Lloyd.
Her character?
The character,
or the actor?
Not the actor,
okay.
The character of Jamie Lloyd.
3.
3, that's right.
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6. And finally, this is a weird one, Dr. Terrence Wynn.
2.
2 movies?
Yes.
Really?
2 movies.
Are you sure?
Do you count him as the Men in Black
I
in
did.
5? Well,
I did.
3.
3 movies. And then I wrote in parentheses 4 ? Because in my research, people list this as the same character, but in the remake, the nurse that he stabs is Nurse Wynn. And
oh no, I wouldn't count that.
Right, I wouldn't either.
That's just an homage.
Right, but in the listings that I found of list of characters, it said Dr. Terrence Wynn / Nurse Wynn, and it said this character was played by a woman who was a nurse in the remake, which I also would not count. But so that's a fun little game. Yeah. So a lot of these characters are in more movies than you think.
And it's so hard. They're played by different people all the time.
And Danielle Harris, who plays Jamie Lloyd in 2 movies, is later in the Rob Zombie movie. So she's in 4, but only as the same character twice, and then twice again.
Right.
Even though the character she played the first time is in 3.
Yes.
What a nightmare of a scenario it is. Okay.
Okay, let's rank these bad boys.
Let's do that. Do you want to go first? I'd say it's easier if we both just give our list instead of the last one and then go up from there.
Okay.
So, you go first.
So, you want
start from worst to best, I think.
Okay.
And I'm going to get mad at you, I bet, during this.
Probably. I'm going to say that Halloween 6 is the worst.
Okay.
Then I'm going to say
I'm going to look at my list.
Halloween 5.
Okay.
Halloween 4. Rob Zombie 2, Rob Zombie 1, H2O, Resurrection, Halloween 3, Halloween 2, the original, and then Halloween 2018.
Okay. Wow. I don't understand how your list is laid out.
Yeah,
it's very
I know how I wrote it.
Okay. A lot of that I would say I agree with.
Yeah.
But some of it I would not. Like,
well, I know Resurrection is probably like way down on your list.
All right. So my list is 6 is last. I think that is just a dumpster fire of a movie.
And it sucks. Paul Rudd's in that movie.
But he's
Paul.
He's like weird in it. It's not that he's bad. He's just weird because everything in that movie is weird. Then I said Resurrection because that is.
Oh, really?
That is a bad movie, but it's at least consistent.
What?
That movie's not good, Joe.
5 is bad.
5 is bad, but
5 is really bad.
Resurrection is garbage.
Whatever.
All right, then it's 5 because that's a bad movie. Then I said the first Rob Zombie movie.
You hate the first one more than the second one?
Yes, I kind of like the second one.
Ugh.
I like how brutal and just horrific and monstrous it is.
I get that, but I cannot get over the dead mom with the horse.
Yeah, it's stupid. But like as a David Lynch fan, I guess, somebody who appreciates David Lynch movies, it's weird in a way that I kind of appreciate. Then I said Halloween 3. I don't like that movie, even though it's different and it's just, I don't like the main character.
Yeah,
I just think he's not a fun. He's not a fun character.
Weird dude.
Yeah. Then I said Halloween 2. Now, a lot of people like Halloween 2. They say it's a solid sequel.
I don't like it that much. I guess I did put it before H2O. And I
think it's really boring. It's not as successful.
I think it's got some good kills in it.
Sure, but it's not as successful in what it's trying to do as the first one is. And Laurie is just such a non-character in that movie that completely take any agency away from her. She does nothing throughout it. So then I said that. Then Rob Zombie 2, I think, is next.
Wow.
Because
that's really high on your list.
I do. I like that movie. And that's the first of like the movies that I think I like.
Yeah.
Then Halloween 4. Of those middle Halloween movies, that's my favorite. I think that's
your list makes no sense to me.
Listen, that's a really solid movie. What's wrong with it? Name one thing that's wrong with it.
I don't like that we even have Jamie as a character.
Okay.
I think it's unnecessary.
Sure, it is. But like, if you're going to continue the story and you can't keep having him attack Laurie Strode.
Why?
Because, well, they didn't have Jamie Lee Curtis, and they're not going to recast Laurie Strode. What are we, Rob Zombie? I like that movie. I think it's just a solid fun. It's where the movies start to get fun, but before it gets stupid. So It's a very sweet spot there.
Okay.
Then I said the first one. It's the only reason it's not higher is because, like I said, suspense just doesn't work on me. And once I've seen this movie, I like know what's going to happen. So just a lot of nothing happens in that movie.
Yeah.
But it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Then H2O. I think that's just a very, very great movie in every way. It's got some stupid stuff in it, but it's a great movie. And then 2018 is the best, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Yes, our lists were very different.
They were. I don't think you're wrong. I'm just confused by a lot of it.
I'm very confused by yours, and I'm going to have to look over it and be like, No.
Okay. Great.
Well, anything else I have to add?
Well, we have to talk about what makes it scary.
That's true.
Which I'll try to be quick about. So, when I was throughout this entire research field, not just for this movie, but for all of these movies, something that I kind of came up on is people don't make a movie with the intention of creating an icon that will last forever. That does happen, and yes, people want that. But when people go to make a movie, they just, I think a lot of the times are thinking, what would be scary? What would work here?
Right.
And if you look through the pantheon of movies that came before Halloween and everything, you would see movies that do some of the things Halloween did. And you would see movies that just do weird stuff, like some that are set in the future, some that are set in space. We've seen movies, and not just before them, but movies that are set in space. The reason that these don't connect with people is, well, they just don't connect with people. Like, they're not relatable, they're not...
Right, you can't put yourself in that headspace.
The reason that horror movies work, the reason that a lot of the ones we talked about, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, all of these franchises, the reason that they landed with audiences is because the decisions that were, in some cases, random or for budgetary reasons or whatever they had, connected with people in a way that only that time and that place could have worked. And so that's why I think when we talk about the fact that Friday the 13th made you scared of the country, made you scared of like going out into the woods where you aren't surrounded by civilization and you could just be killed by anything. Right. Scream, it was like the people that you know could be the ones killing you. Like you don't know who people are. Psycho is the same way. It's like the people that you think are normal people. Like when you're at your most vulnerable in the shower, you could be killed. The reason I think that Halloween has become the success that it is because this is where evil comes home. And this is what I was a little hesitant to talk about with the Psycho thing, because it's not really the home. It is a familiar place. It's a hotel. It's a place that you don't typically feel in a great amount of danger in. But the thing about Halloween is even movies like Psycho, the location was not your home. The suburbs of America, that was where, especially at this time in like the Reagan was in the 80s, but like that era of America was the suburbs were where the American person lived. That was where America was. It wasn't like the city, which is the scary, weird place that anything could happen to you in. And it's not even the country where like, no one's out there and no one knows what's going on. This is the heart of America. And for the horror to be happening right there, that's why it struck with so many people, because this was our homes. Like everybody went to see Halloween and was like, I know that town. I know Haddonfield. I know Laurie Strode.
We feel that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like the one shot in 2018 Halloween where he's like going through and like killing people. Like you could imagine Halloween night like looking out and being like, which one of those are like a real actual killer who's going to come in? Like,
hate trick-or-treaters now.
Yeah. So I think they struck gold with the setting because it was such a constricted budget, they had to film it in just a place that looked like rural America. I'm sure part of it was that they tried to go for that. But that's I think where why the horror being in the home comes from, and why it's so important that Michael Myers always comes home. Of course, there's the mask, which we talked about. Everything about him is personalityless. You're supposed to be able to project your own fear into Michael because he's just this blank slate for you to...
He is. He truly is. He's a shape that you put your shit in.
He represents death. Like, death comes for you. And more so than the others because he's so personalityless. Like, he will come for you and he will just kill you. And you can't stop him. Even no matter how hard you try, he'll come back. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me look through my notes, see if there's anything else that I have. Here's a note. I love you.
Oh.
I forgot to say that during this entirely.
That was cute.
Yeah.
In case I don't think anybody ever knew, we are dating.
Yeah, we're a boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, which is weird. You usually say that like
whenever we meet new people. I want to say this. Whenever a new person comes into the room, like for the first time, like we're at a party, somebody new comes in, they're like, "Oh, this is Alex and this is Jody," and that's it. Like later on in the night, we're gonna kiss, and that person's gonna be very surprised and confused because we're not like holding hands when we're introduced. Like, am I wrong in saying like we're dating? Like
I don't know. I guess I've just never been put in that situation that I'm like, oh my gosh, they're dating.
I think I have been, like, just showing up at a party and then, like, two people that you don't know start kissing. You're like, oh, okay. I didn't know they were dating. Now I do.
Yeah.
I guess that's just a twist.
Dating is such a weird term that I like use for you and me. We're almost at 8 years here.
Yeah, and we're living together.
Yeah.
It's more than dating, but yeah.
We're going steady.
So that's what makes it scary.
Yeah, for
okay,
sure.
well, wow.
I have so much enjoyed this journey with you.
Oh my God, me
and
too.
our audience.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so much fun.
And I'd love to do it again next year. Looks into microphone.
In hopes that the dreams will come true. Yeah.
If you want to hear more of this, by the way, this is the end. This is the end of the series.
This is the end of our season.
Season 1, I guess you'd call it.
Right.
We want to do this again next year around the Halloween time, but we need your help to do that. You have a lot of time, but you also don't have a lot of time. So share this podcast, especially guys, listen.
And
listen.
females.
And females.
And
everyone.
And non-gender specific.
Right. Rate and review this podcast on iTunes. If you don't, I will find you and I'll shoot you 6 times. Because this show needs to grow and it needs your help to do it.
It does.
Anyway, I love you.
Yeah.
But who am I talking to?
Both of us, probably.
Right.
I hope you've enjoyed this. Happy Halloween.
I'm going to miss doing this.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to like having the
Some
time.
time. Yeah.
We've been watching a lot of movies.
If you want to hear from us for the rest of the year, follow us on Twitter at Peeves and Qs. That is our non-seasonal podcast that...
It's probably going to be coming back soon.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
I am itching to record that.
That's supposed to be like a weekly, year-long show.
Right.
So if things go the way they're supposed to,
right.
That's where
Which
you
I
can
don't
find
even
us.
know if we've ever talked about what that podcast is. It's a weekly podcast where we ask each other questions and talk about what's annoying us. So everyone comes with a pet peeve, and then everybody in the group has to come with a question.
And then we each have to answer.
all have to answer it. It's very interesting. We also take your questions. So if you have an off-the-wall question that you'd like to ask us, please tweet at us. You can also email us at peevesandqspodcast@gmail.com.
Gmails.com.
Gmails.com.
Sign up for Google's for your Gmails.
Which I'm going to spell it for you for this one time, and forgive me, I'm probably going to butcher it. It's PEEVESANDQSPODCAST@gmail.com.
At GMALIL. Damn it. Right at the end. All right, well.
I am so glad that I'm a horrible speller for those of you who don't know.
I can't believe I stole your misspelling.
I'm glad you did.
I don't want this to end.
You can follow me personally on Twitter at Peeves. Oh, shit. At Clever Girl, the letter F and the letter X.
Yeah. I'm going to be playing some Dead by Daylight. You can play as Michael Myers in there. I'm deliberately not ending the episode because I don't want it to be over.
I do because I have shit I got to go do.
I think I'm going to go. Anyway, yeah. So thanks for watching, listening. And yeah. Oh, I'm on Twitter at Mr. Spelled the Long Way Red 2342. That's at Mr. Red 2342.
Alrighty. I hope you've enjoyed it. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
I got nothing.
That's it? We're not ending it in a fun way? Oh no, I've been shot 6 times. Okay.
Yeah, I could honestly, I thought all day. I can't think of anything.
I love you.
Love you too.